Episode 616 of Lucas Tigers and
Woo!
Bronze, and this is the Fractional Report brought to you by Collectable before the opening bell. Or is it the Fractional Report before opening bell brought to you by Collectable?
Well, you got it right the first time. You got it right the first time, and you nailed it. And the listeners, thank you for that. And this is an action-packed, information-jammed episode here. I mean, there's just so much stuff. Auctions ending, basically, as we are recording. Auctions ended last night. Auctions ended before that. We have news. We have baseball for the first time. We did a fractional report back. So we got that on the radar. And yet, none of that matters. The auctions don't matter. There's war. There's COVID. None of it matters because what's the biggest news today? What's the biggest news?
Brady's back, and life
Brady's
is good.
back. He's back.
I'm counting that as my win streak. Because when Brady plays, just life is better. Is that okay to say?
Not since Michael Jordan donned the 4-5 and said he was back. Not since Sir Mix-a-Lot explained that baby got back. Has it been this big of a deal that someone is back? Tom Brady is back, folks. Tom Brady is back.
Did you see Ravel pouring a little salt on people's wounds?
I was just going to say that. So that I would like to say that. We were going to talk about it. I was going to drop that in there. I was going to throw a number, right? Just to make everybody who's had a loss, everybody who's had a miss, everybody's had a bad call, $518,628 last night. So Saturday night, a Leland's auction ended. If you listen to this Monday, I contextualize the actual date. For Tom Brady's, quote, last touchdown pass football. Over $500,000. And hours after that, he comes out and announces, guess what? I am not retired. So you have to imagine that the person who won that is likely a huge Tom Brady fan. And he's probably sitting in his house right now, mansion, likely, $500,000 on football, saying, Tom, how could you do me like that? You couldn't have announced it like an hour ago? You know, you couldn't have announced it a couple hours. You couldn't announce it yesterday? Information that would have been useful yesterday. You don't know the movie, but it's a Sandler line. People will message me. They know the movie. You thinking?
Daddy?
No.
Happy Gilmore? Billy Madison?
No. But, you know, if you keep guessing
just go with it?
No. The wedding singer.
I love Just Go With It.
The wedding singer, because his intended, advises him all of these horrible things the day after they got married.
You know,
the day
Adam
after they were
Sandler's
gonna get married.
So Entourage and Adam Sandler are kind of like not my hero, but like my North Star. And I think our team, they'll tell you this, like if you guys listen. I love to win with my friends. Like my dream is that I win, Cage wins, but everyone that's in our inner circle and in our outer circle wins. And I think Adam Sandler's the one that did that. He did that the best in real life.
I think so. I mean, he keeps all of his friends in there. But I will tell you, I think of our team like Entourage. And I have a request from you.
Sure.
Can you yell victory?
Victory!
There you go, Johnny Drama. All right, what do you want to talk about today? We can talk about Brady. Just high level. What do you think that does to his assets? What do you think that does to Brady's prices?
I think you see it kind of like the hype, and then it just comes right back down to where it was.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, right? Because it opens up a can of worms, right? There's a little bit of hype. I think there probably will be some people who run out and grab some more of his cards because we've talked about this. We've talked about how there's upside, downside, risk reward. And if you believed he was retired, there was no longer any on-field potential upside to add to his cards. There was upside as far as just asset growth over time, like we've seen with other great players, other GOATs, other, iconic players. And sure, that was there with Brady. More probably than almost anyone else, because he is a clear-cut, clearly defined greatest to ever do it. But you didn't have any on-field potential. And now with an announcement of I'm back, depending upon what you think his prospects are in Tampa, he has a shot to win again. He has a shot to put up another season. He did have more passing touchdowns last year than anybody else in the league. He wasn't the MVP, but he was definitely in the running. So there's a potential for some on-field upside. Maybe he wins the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden the cards are kicked into,
do you think there's a bit of a supply run? Like, do you think that with this news, people who might have wanted to get out, Or do you think anyone who wanted to sell Brady up until this point, they've already sold Brady's cards?
I think so. I think Brady holders, the people are holding Brady's, but you're right. I mean, it could be an opportunity if somebody wanted to have some liquidity and get out of Brady cards. This is an opportunity. But I mean, I don't know. What's funny about it is I'd like to say that he is shrewd, right? Because he didn't watch all of the free agency, but he watched the NFC actually get weaker. The two top dominoes in the quarterback world fell. And while Aaron Rodgers stayed in the NFC, he is not afraid of Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, clearly. He took him out with Tampa Bay 2 years ago. He's not afraid of that Green Bay team. The Green Bay team has money problems. Yes, they got Rodgers in there, but they tagged Devontae, and they are going to have trouble signing a lot of their guys, the Smith brothers, Bobby Tunyon, the whole crew. So that team's actually going to probably get worse. And you saw Russell Wilson leave Seattle. Not that they were a real threat anyway, but they could have retooled around him, and he's now in the AFC. It means the NFC got weaker. And there's not really much in the way of other, quarterbacks out there who are going to come to the NFC that Tom Brady is, quaking in his boots about. If you saw Russell Wilson come to his division, maybe if he saw, New Orleans retool with, a couple of good players and Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, maybe this decision is different. Who knows? But I think what he looks at is exactly what I was talking about on yesterday's show. If you're Deshaun Watson, go to Carolina and you win the division because it's just that weak of a division. Well, Tom Brady said, hey, I listen to Cage. He messages me all the time. And he said, you know what, Cage, you're right. This division is a walk. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to win every game. I'm going to be undefeated in my division, and I'm going to walk into the playoffs, probably with a bye.
If I could be honest, I'm taking a page out of his book. I'm going to just start listening to Cage more. We do 616 episodes, and no bullshit. I mean, you called that right on.
I did say he wasn't retiring. I will say that to the folks. I did say he wasn't retiring.
Also, I'm the basketball guy, but Cage talked about Desmond Bane before I did, and he talked about Jason Tatum before I did, and his card just got bought out.
But
2x.
You were heavy on Tatum. I just said the Celtics looked like they were good. You really went deep on Tatum, and you were right, man. And talk about an offer.
You watched the analysis of the card.
Yes, the card itself. Less Tatum, more if you see the 10-10, the premium being paid for the National Treasures cards for those type of cards. You saw a Luka, and Luka and Tatum is actually a decent comparison, right? I know Luka is a hobby darling, and Tatum doesn't have that kind of love, except in the Northeast. It was a fair comparison, right? They both have a lot of potential. Neither of them have ever done anything yet on an individual or team basis. But you saw the Luka 10-10 National Treasure sell for how much? $750,000. And this wasn't that, but it was a 10-10. You know what I mean? So, it was sitting there for a fraction, pennies on the dollar for what some of these other, high-end cards are selling for.
I don't know if this was late December. It was actually below IPO price because if you guys remember, Celtics and Tatum didn't look good in the first quarter of the season. Maybe this was like early December. So yours was very much like a bounce back play. Like this one was oversold. People are trying to get out. But no, you've been spot on for a long time. So anything else with Brady? I mean, there's no Watson cards on Collectable, so it's not really impacting the Fractional report. But anything else on Brady? Any thoughts? I thought it was cool to see Johnny Unitas bounce back like he did this week. I think people sleep on him. So I'll tell you guys why I bring that up.
That was one of your plays, remember? Remember you talked about the Unitas, yep.
So the Unitas card had top three gainers this week. The Tatum card up 48.9%. It was a buyout, really. It was two offers. One was too low. People rejected it, came in for $100,000 after it was accepted. But the 1957 tops, Johnny Unitas PSA 10, up 41% this week. And it's actually, I think it's going to have another week, Cage, where you see it run because it's down 11% from IPO. So it was a big bounce back week. But I'll pull this up. I mean, look at this. It was $3.15 a share and then huge bounce back week, but it's still trading at significant discount, 10-11% down from IPO price. And this is a card I talked a lot about because he is a legend of the game. And I'm curious where you stand on it. It's a beautiful 8, nicely centered.
I love the card. I mean,
is he card more relevant?
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
he?
listen, he is because the more you talk about Brady this year, you have to think this is now swan song year. We've got to see that with a couple of greats. Mariano Rivera, everybody knew he was retiring. It was, hey, he's going to go into every stadium and they're going to celebrate him, and he's going to get something from each team and blah blah blah. You have to think that Brady this year, this is going to be it. Like, I think people are going to just assume this is now the Brady walk year, right? And every time he goes into a stadium, it's his last time playing there. It's his last time playing against this team, last time playing against Mahomes in the regular season. Sort of like the Coach K stuff, which. Thank you, Duke. You obviously do not care about Coach K's legacy, but that's a story for another episode. But in any event, yeah,
This is true.
I think it matters. And I think what you're going to get out of that is you're going to get a lot of conversation, a lot of analysis about his career, a lot of retrospective about him, a lot of, hey, Brady just did this on the field. Brady just had this number of touchdown. Brady just had this many yards. Let's look back at other quarterbacks who have played the game. And your man right there is going to be one of a few names that he will be compared to as one of the greats of a generation. So I do think it's relevant. I think he's cardboard relevant for that reason. And it's why the GOATs
This
remain
is his
relevant.
farewell tour. This is his Kobe farewell tour.
I think so. It's like Rocky said. He's got something left in the basement. He's got to get it out of the basement. When he fought, I forget, Rocky Balboa, one of the more forgettable ones, where he fought against was it Tarver? Mason the Line Dixon, he fought in that one, right? Because it was like a video game simulation. He's like, I still got something in the basement. So Brady's still got something in the basement, man. He wants to get it out. So
Third gainer,
well,
shoeless.
before Brady, but wait, before we get into that, because you asked about Brady, whether or not I think anything's relevant, I do want to talk about one asset of Brady's that's on here that we do have a comp for that we don't. So the I've talked about this, the basket. The ticket basket, right? So that's the one that is the playoff contenders rookie ticket Tom Brady basket. We have the BGS ×2, and I've mentioned this only because it's not the card, right? It's not the one that is only numbered 100 and sells for millions of dollars, but it's the same type. So we have two BGS 9 with 10 autos, right? And the current trading on this is $198,000. For the basket means just under 100 each, so $99,000 each. That trading price obviously doesn't take into account him coming back, which might bring a slight uptick. In addition, we just had a golden auction end on one of these, also BGS 910, and it sold for $115,200. Another comp that's very similar, to this. We've had a lot of comps. I've talked about this, but if you realize
$200,000 for
two. So we're at 99. Two using the golden auction price would be $230,000, which would show a nice, approximately 15% increase. Where our comp, our asset, the asset on Collectable is approximately, 15% below the most recent comp. And that comp doesn't take into account today's announcement that he's back. And that might actually kick it into gear also. So I might see some, I'd look for some activity on this one when trading opens because of the recent comp and because of the Brady news. Shoot.
All right. Shoeless Joe Jackson. Did we talk about this card last week?
We did. The blank back?
We did. Yep. So up 32% this week. Just something to kind of keep your eye on. And top 3 decliners. All 3 were 2 were Kobe game worn memorabilia, and another one was a LeBron James BGS non-rookie card. So the 1996 game worn and signed rookie sneakers, which I actually think are incredibly rare. People always want the rookie, and how many times Kobe signed everything, but how many game worn and rookie signed sneakers are there? So that's a buyout opportunity. It's interesting, Cage. Kobe kind of has fallen out of flavor. Like I'm trying to sell one of my Kobe cards, no biters at all, which is crazy to think because 1 year ago Kobe was all the talk. You've been through cycles. Why is that? Why does that kind of stuff happen?
Well, Kobe had, 2 things happen in the same year that made a lot of his cards really run like crazy, right? Obviously, he passed away. And then you also had the crazy cycle of the card values going up. So it kind of doubled down, and people were just crazy clamoring for Kobe cards. And I think, they really got ahead of themselves in that first quarter last year. I wouldn't say that Kobe cards are so far and away, they're getting beat up any more than, say, LeBron's. Kobe and LeBron ran like crazy. They ran together. Remember the Kobe Chrome, the LeBron Chrome, they're base rookies. They kind of both ran into the high 30s, $40,000. And they both come down significantly. The difference that that LeBron has is that he's still out there and could potentially do stuff and can bolster his cards up when you have somebody like Gary Vee out there saying, "Oh, I need to buy more LeBron cards." And when you have LeBron going out there and dropping 50 points twice in the same week and leading the league in scoring, it does have some more interest on his cards than you would normally see when you see for like a Kobe item. So
look at this cliff, Cage.
Yeah.
So look at how this. So this is his game
sneakers,
worn.
right? Yeah.
I know this is hideous. He referred to Adidas as the other company. So this isn't aesthetic, but Cage, how many Kobe rookie season auto game worn sneaks are there? And this one IPO'd at over 100,000, 132,000, and now it's trading at almost half of that, 73,000 after it fell off a cliff. So if you're a Kobe memorabilia guy, if you're a Kobe collector, I think it's a really interesting time to buy into this, especially after the sell-off. I expect a little bit, at least, of a bounce back this week. Another one, we have the final season sneakers, also down 35%.
Stuff, yeah. Can you do me a favor? Sure. Can you pull up that emblems, the LeBron?
Sure. Also down 35%
card
this week.
So that was one of your three you talked about. I don't even know what this card looks like. And when I do my blind analysis of the data, this was one of three that came up to take a look at because it was a $20 IPO. It was $20 for the longest time. And just this week, it fell from 20 to 13. Right? That is a huge drop. Please.
Non-rookie, ugly patch, and then I think it's a 9 auto. 10 auto. Interesting. I think it's a little bit faded right there. That's what I would go for. Not an ugly patch. I don't really like this at all. It's like E and then another E looking back at each other. Non-rookie, and then the auto isn't that clean. Those were my.
I mean, there's over 10,000 shares of this, so I still think the market cap is $130 something thousand. And I think basically, what is it about this card that should hold it out and make it a six-figure, card? It's not a rookie, right? Second year. And there's a lot of these cards out there, So that's an interesting one. It definitely is. But can I stick with LeBron for a second?
Absolutely.
All right. Can you pull up? We talk about this one, and it's not a direct comp, but it's just one that, I think is, if you're a LeBron believer, the exquisite RPA at a 99 BGS 8.5, the big boy, the one that has many, many times over sold for. Is that a Top Shot moment that's coming soon? We're gonna have to talk about that.
I just saw this, Cage.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk about that. You're veering off. This is what happens. You give Andrew
it's not my fault. I searched LeBron.
It's like a kid on YouTube. They go down a path. All of a sudden, they got a playlist set up, and he's watching videos he's not supposed to be watching.
I apologize.
But we can get into that. We should definitely open. So the LeBron, the exquisite, the RPA at a 99 rookie exquisite, the BGS 8.5. So, this is the big boy, right? I mean, this is a card that sold for millions of dollars. You have an 8.5 here with a current trading price of $1,985,000, right? So just under 1.1. So I bring this up because we have a recent comp at $960,000. But can you click on the other side of this one? Can you show the other side? Is this a 10 auto or a 9 auto? It's a 10 auto. So the 1.1 million in value on Collectable is an 8.5 with a 10 auto. Golden Auctions just sold an 8 with a 9 auto with a very similar patch for $960. Right? There's a huge difference between a 9 auto and a 10 auto, and a huge difference in pricing between a BGS 8 and an 8.5, I believe. On this card, maybe not so much because obviously it's a huge card. But if you're talking about those levels there, the pricing difference between an 8 with a 9 auto and an 8.5 with a 10 auto should be significant. And if the most recent comp on an 8 with a 9 auto is $960,000, then this one at 1.1 is looking a little bit nicer. Just throwing that out there for a recent comp in Golden that just ended this weekend.
Something you say a lot, Cage, is don't necessarily buy what you like, buy what other people will want to buy from you, or some version of that. But if you guys are out there, you understand exactly what I mean. I think the market is anticipating a scoring title for LeBron. And even though that's not a huge deal because we've watched the embarrassment that the Lakers have been this year, the market thinks it's a pretty big deal.
Oh,
To
yeah.
see a team that's in ninth place, that's under 500, that's completely disappointed. LeBron still sets record prices. LeBron cards are increasing in value. It's interesting.
I have a
wouldn't
question
think
for
it.
you because it's LeBron. You can pull the card up. Can you pull up the black refractor rookie BGS
Sure.
95? And my question for you, because you've done this. When you got into the hobby, you were deep into this, cracking BGS cards, trying to get PSA 10s out of it. Take a look at this one. Let's see what the subgrades are. And if I tell you, so that looks like a true gem, right? It looks like 9.5 straight across.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it a true gem if I was the grader. I wouldn't
Okay,
crack this
so
if you're asking.
what's the
It's a
market
little bit
cap on
off
this
center.
one right now? So we have, guys, we're talking about the 2003 Topps Chrome Black Refractor Rookie, which is out of 500, I believe, in a BGS True Gem 9.5 on Collectable. It gives a market cap right now trading of what, about $117,000? Okay, I bring this up because in Golden's auction that just ended Saturday night, a PSA 10, so obviously, remember, one on Collectable, it's a true gem, straight 9.5 across at 117. A true gem sold, including the buyer's premium, for $240,000. A little bit more than double what this BGS 9.5 sold for. So I give you that for the data. I'm going to leave it to you now to tell me whether you think that's fair, whether you think a BGS 9.5 true gem is 50%. Should it be less? Should it be more? What do you think happens with that new data point of a $240,000 for that card in PSA 10 versus what you're looking at 117?
So when the PSA 10 LeBrons were about $11,000 for the base, I bought a True Gem Plus Plus for $8,800. About 80% of the value, 83% of the value. And I wasn't going to crack it. Cracking scary. I was going to try to cross it over. And it didn't cross. And it was a beautiful 10. It was a beautiful, had a 10 centering and a 10 edges, 9.5 corners, 9.5 surface. It didn't cross. So it does seem like it's an opportunity, but PSA is so strict on these cards, these LeBron cards with a lot of value. They know how much crossing it over adds to the value. I think it might be underpriced in BGS. I don't think a quad 9.5 should be less than 50%. I think a quad 9.5 should be around 60 to 70%. So if you're buying it for that, I think it's a good value. I think if you think someone's going to buy it out to cross it or crack it, I don't see it happening just the way PSA is grading right now.
Okay. So let me stay in basketball and do a little piece that I like to call
Keep
a tale
going.
of two boxes. A tale of two boxes. Okay? And don't get your mind always goes to a bad place. Don't get dirty. I mean
Never
wax
made sense
boxes.
why people call that box. I
Tale
never
of two
understood why people.
boxes. All right, we're not going to talk about that right now. It's a different show for a different day. Tale of two boxes, guys. The 03 Exquisite box fell from $14 a share to $12.25 a share, but at the at the market cap that it's at now, it's still way above the $73,000 that it was that the last couple of comps sold this for. You can take a look at that one. Yeah, so it had a bad week. But the market cap is still just slightly under 100. It's still in the 90s. So this is one I look at, it fell. It definitely fell, 10, 15% this past week. But I've been calling that for the last couple of weeks. So this does not surprise me. And I wanted to think so just be careful on this one. If you're looking at one that, I wouldn't jump into just yet, this is definitely it. The other thing is, so a wax box is dead. So can you pull up for me on the platform here the 1986 Fleer wax box? So we've talked about this because we saw the PSA 10s of like Johnny Moore and those guys sell for a little bit more. So wax box 86 Fleer, this one here is sitting with a market. You can take a look. What's the market price on this or the market value on this one?
Market cap is 198.
198,000, right? So almost
up
200.
from 183. Up from 183.
So I want to make sure everybody knows we are trying to be as straight shooting as we can here, right? So that Exquisite box is still high as an asset on Collectable compared to what recent comps are. But Golden had an 86 Fleer box sell yesterday in their auction, and it ended at $240,000, including the buyer's premium. So if it's a 240, the asset's sitting here on Collectable at 198 or 198.4, I think is what it's at, is significantly below that. It's 20% below. And we will note, because we try to talk about this. It's not it's not all Collectable. There's the same 86 Fleer box sitting on Rally trading at about $180,000. So they're both there. So I don't know whether or not this is one where this will be the week where that box catches up to a recent comp, whether that's just one outlier comp. But we do want to point out that from a fractional perspective, the market cap on those boxes right now do seem a little bit lower than what people are paying. Maybe fractional hasn't caught up to some of those recent singles prices that people are potentially cracking boxes for or keeping the boxes open for, as this 86 Fleer set becomes, the chase set that people are trying to build in high grade.
Kevin Durant, a 53-point game today. 53 or 55?
Yeah, man.
53, I think it was.
53, yeah.
And that's after blowing out the Sixers. So let me give you last week's data, and then I'll tell you what I think is going to happen this week. So last week, he has 2 cards on Collectable. He has the high school game-worn jersey. That one was flat last week, actually no trading. And then he has his refractor from 07, the PSA 10. That one was up 2%. I think we see both of those, but more than likely the refractor this week start to move. After the blowout of the Sixers, after his 53-point game, after the people kind of were getting excited, oh, this Nets team, they could really scare some people in the playoffs. I think the next 1, 2, 3 weeks before playoffs, you're going to see a little bit of movement on that card.
So I love the call, and I love the Durant action. I've given this card. This card has fluctuated between $20,000 and $30,000. What's the current market cap? Because I'm gonna have to make this a fun little show. People love when we do point counterpoint and go against you on the Durant Chrome, not the other one, just the Chrome. And I'll tell you why in a second. I think the market cap is over 20 on this.
I'm pulling it up, brother.
Thank you.
Right now. The market cap is 25, right in the middle.
25,000. So here's why it's problematic. It's not just Golden that had auctions end this week. Your favorite people over at Alt also had their liquid auction end. And I know you're a fan of this, and I don't want you to, burn your fingers, trying to pull up the Alt liquid auctions and your Alt data and the whole 9 yards. But if you did pull that up there, what you would see is 2 days ago on Alt liquid auctions, the last bid and a winning bid for the same Durant PSA 10 refractor was $16,603. Wow. So recent comp at 16.6 and an alt value of 18,696.77.
I don't think alt's a good benchmark, by the way.
I mean, it's just
I think comp. But a lot of their stuff ended light, man. Like this Jordan,
like the Ja. So it's funny. You say a lot of the stuff ended light, right? A lot of stuff ended light. I have a couple of other cards that are comp to the alt, where the alt price is higher than what we have on Collectable. So we can definitely go through a couple of them if you want. But that one there,
for that reason, I don't think that they're good. I think they either end too high or too low. I don't think they're a good benchmark. But I don't want to knock you off your course. I apologize.
No, I mean, just it's one data point, right? The Durant ended at 25. A recent sale in alt, you can buy that card. This past week it was 16,603. Another alt, if you want to pull up, go to the top. The Herbert PSA 9. It was like the first one. It was next to the Durant. It was like the top row. So there is, you saw that, Kevin, the Durant right there. The Herbert, click on that Herbert right there. So that's a recent sale on Herbert. The National Treasures Gold RPA, right? That's numbered to 10. I think the one that sold on alt. It'll load up in a second, maybe. Anyway, that card, that's sold for $160,000. It's a PSA 9 numbered out of 10. The comp is there is a 20 National Treasures, Hidden Treasures, BGS 9, so not a PSA 9, BGS 9 on Collectable, numbered out of 5. That's trading at $60,000. So you had this one here. Go ahead.
I got to tell you, man, I can't understand for the life of me the sustained record sales of Herbert. The guy has done nothing, and he's so beloved.
Yeah.
Is he going to be the Luka of the NFL?
He may. So let me just do a couple more. You don't have to open them up, right? So in addition, on alt, right, Josh Allen BGS 9.5 Gold Prism sold for $112,000. A BGS 9.5. We also, on Collectable, also has a BGS 9.5 with a current trading price of $132,000. The alt was $112,000. We talked about the Durant. The Floyd Mayweather Browns boxing is currently trading at $22,000 on Collectable. It sold for $14,700 in that liquid auction. There it is right there. You've pulled that one up. And the Panini Sports Mega Cracks Lionel Messi, there's a basket on the Collectable data that's at 41. The PSA 10, the main card from it, sold for 13,300. So just a couple of comps there. The Herbert was higher. It's a different Herbert. It's a different card, obviously. But, some of the alt auctions, definitely ended with some comps that are a little bit lower than what the cards are trading for on Collectable presently. What else you got?
My dad had a good take on Messi and LeBron. He talks about how these guys go to teams to kind of to have their swan song. And he asked me, "Do you think Messi actually hurt PSG?" And I asked him why. I thought he played incredibly well. I thought Verratti should have passed him the ball for an opportunity. And he says, "But he doesn't defend. He doesn't work on defense." And it reminded me a little bit about LeBron as well in that scenario where people at the tail end of their career, they kind of want to go, but not. It's not that they're not buying into what makes the team win. It's just they don't have the legs, right? So they can't defend. They can't play as hard as they once could because that they're on the tail end of their career, and they may not go there to win. We always think someone wants to go somewhere to win, right? You go to Lakers to win. You go to PSG, team up with Neymar and Mbappe to win. He had a good, interesting point. He's like, he went there, because the workload is a lot later for him. He can't do that at Barcelona.
Yep.
And I'd never thought of it, and because what I think makes Man City so successful is if you guys watch them, they defend like hawks. Every single one of them sprinting around the field. PSG, Messi doesn't really work off the ball, and it was interesting. I didn't think about it until my dad said it.
I think what makes Man City awesome is that they just happen to have $130 million sitting there and said, "Hey, Haaland, we have your money."
I know, but think about this. Who's Man City's biggest star? Forget Haaland right now.
I have no idea.
You have no idea.
I have no clue.
They have huge bankroll. De Bruyne is a star, and they have incredible players.
Okay,
but every single one of those guys is bought into the system, and they work on offense. But dude, on defense, they are moving. They are on it. But when you have Neymar, Mbappe, and Messi, how much do they want to work on defense, right? They want to score goals. When you have Anthony Davis, Westbrook, LeBron, how much do they want to work on defense? They want to get dunks. I hadn't even thought about it till we didn't talk about that PSG game where they lost to Madrid. I thought Messi played great. My dad was brought that up. So
it's funny. Your dad's probably watched more soccer than both of us combined and 1,000%. 3 other people, because I don't really watch that much soccer, so I don't really add much to that equation. But he's definitely knowledgeable when it comes to soccer. He knows his stuff. And it's a valid point, right? I mean, it's, the stars today, they have a phrase they use that the old stars would laugh at: load management. So now we've had an episode where we talked about, the tale of two boxes. We've talked about load management, and, we should find a way to wrap this one up and take it home.
Were we already 33 minutes in? I thought we just got started.
Oh, dude. Well, listen, we went through a lot of comps. We went through a lot of different stuff. And what I love from you at this point is to kind of go over where we are with IPOs, kind of go over, the IPO schedule. You talked a little bit about the Tatum buyout, which, obviously got another higher bid and was accepted. That was a perfect storm right there. But go ahead.
So let me go through this week's IPOs first. So, these are ones that I don't love, but there's 2 really similar ones. I'll tell you what I love, what I don't love. So you have next Sunday, March 20th, the 1994 Charles Barkley game-worn Suns jersey, 56 points, which was his career high, 151,000. I got to tell you, man, Charles had a really interesting career, but his post-playing career might even be better than any other player ever. He's beloved. He's so beloved. He's
Him and
so
Shaq.
revered.
And that's why they're kind of connected, right? The 2 of them, the Chuck and Shaq show.
Let's flip that now. We have this Tuesday.
Talk about, by the
15th.
way, do you know what Charles Barkley's nickname was? Talk about not one that rolls off the tongue, because it's not like quick. It's not like Mamba. The round mound of rebound. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Charles wasn't that fat. I know he's a big body, but he wasn't fat. I would say Shaq was even fatter than him.
No way.
You don't think so?
When he came in the league, Shaq was Shaq was pretty
No,
ripped
no.
up. I mean, he
When he
obviously
came in the
gained weight
league,
a
for
little
sure.
bit, but yeah.
But then he got big. 2003 Shaq was kind of fat. 2006 Shaq was even fatter. The Joel Embiid first 50-point game worn jersey, 37,000. With these guys still playing, game worn stuff doesn't hold the same value, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
I'm with you.
That's my
I
own
mean,
piece.
just ask the guy who paid $518,000 for the last touchdown. That's not going to be the last touchdown. You got to be careful with people still playing. You don't know what their legacy is going to be.
You have
So
no
it makes it
clue.
tougher,
You don't know if he's
100%.
going to go do something stupid, illegal, and get in trouble that way. You don't know if he's going to go and get a 100-point game, and you're going to want that jersey, and this one's going to mean nothing.
Yep.
So Wednesday, March 16th, we have the 2017 Topps Chrome Orange Refractor of Mbappe in a BGS 9, 54,000. That's interesting. That's a card that people prefer in a PSA 10 of a guy that now with Haaland maybe going to Man City. This guy's the next guy on the move. So there might be a little speculation there. And then we have Cristiano Ronaldo on the back of a hat trick this weekend.
Hat-trick.
His 2002 Panini.
The first
Portugal
goal was sweet.
sticker.
Did you see those goals? Did you watch those goals?
He's got a rip.
Yeah, he's got a little rip to him. It's good stuff.
Little Bleem team. 109,000, 45% retained. So that's what's coming up. Do you want me to go through the IPOs that already happened?
No. I mean, we can talk about guys just because they'll probably go this week. Maybe the Kobe will have some stuff left, but the IPOs that still have a little bit left. That NBA 50 greatest lithograph 101 with 100,000 mark cap, only about 32% left. The Koufax PSA 8 with a tiny market cap of 42,000 only has 18% left. I'm sure that'll fill this week. Same with the Milton Bradley Nolan Ryan PSA 9. That's a cool card, really low pop on that. About a quarter of it remaining. The Kobe Bryant game worn sneakers, 76% remaining. So there may be a little time on that. In app this week, we still have the Reggie Jackson, the Paul Molitor PSA 10 from 1978. The 02 Ronaldo we talked about, and the triple logo man, your favorite combination of Duncan, Yao, and Dirk on the same card. That one's in there as well. But yeah, I mean, lots of fun stuff going on. And guys, enjoy it. This is a crazy couple of weeks in sports. I love sitting down and do the episode with you because, baseball is back. I would imagine you'll probably see some movement in some of the cards. As we start to get some news of people reporting to camp, if the Dodgers make a big splash and maybe sign Correa, maybe that actually impacts Mookie Betts' cards. So,
Definitely.
be nimble, right? Pay attention to the news, pay attention to the hot stove, as they call it. You got Brady coming back.
Follow beat writers.
Yep. Yeah. And so you got football news, you got free agents and signings and trades going on in football that'll impact this stuff. And, so it'll be fun. The next couple of weeks are going to be some jam-packed episodes, and there's auctions ending all the time. We just had Alt and Golden give us some great comps. Next week when we do the episode, the PWCC Premier auction will have just ended. And that's, I'm sure, going to have some comps that are relevant for you also. So there's always news, there's always sports, there's always data. Makes the show a lot of fun. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Dad, what else you got?
And if you're on a losing streak, if you're not having good luck, just remember you could have bought Tom Brady's last touchdown pass last night
for $500,000 for $518,000.
We love you guys. We'll be back next week. And in 2 weeks, we might do the show live from Mint Collective.